welcome to our first meal prep video. I am happy to be here today to show you how I cook for family meal planning as well as bulk cooking. That's going to be our focus this week. So today I'm going to be cooking our ground chicken chili. You have the recipes again in that packet you got either at the kickoff or in the virtual format. Go ahead and look on there if you want to follow along, but that's what we're cooking today. There's a couple things when I do my cooking at home that I kind of try and focus on. First, the meals have to be able to make more meals, right? I want to be able to do less cooking, but be able to fuel the week a lot more in one session because let's face it, I'm a mom of 3 kids, single mom of 3 kids, and I just don't have freaking time, right? So I gotta kind of make a lot in a little bit of time. So that's one of the things I focus on. The second one is I want something that's gonna feed us all. I'm not a person to make more food if the kids don't like it. It's you eat what you're served, but I definitely want to be able to make enough that I don't have to make extra or add in something later. So third thing is I want to make something that is 75 to 80% likely that the kids are going to eat it, right? I don't always cook what they want all the time because 1, we need variety, and 2, I think it's important for kids to try different foods and to not always have stuff they like. Because they need to know how to handle that situation if out and about elsewhere. If they don't like a meal, we can just say it's not our favorite, but that way we don't hurt somebody else's feelings if they had cooked something that wasn't to our liking per se. So that's kind of what I focus on. So with the chili, I'm not going to cook the chili for you because it's so simple, but I will walk you through it. So for the ingredients, like I said on your recipe card, it's 1 pound of ground chicken. I will cook that in a pot. One tip for the ground chicken is I do use this tool right here. I'm not sure what you call it, but I call it like a meat masher. I guess it'd kind of be a potato masher-ish thing. I don't know, but it's meant for like breaking up your meat. So I use this tool before it starts to cook in the pan and break it up because it actually breaks down the chicken more than if you broke it up after you cooked it. It's just a little bit smaller chunks, I guess you'd say. So that's a tool that I use. It's not the real name, go figure it out yourself. But meat masher is what I use. So we're gonna have 1 pound of ground chicken cooked, 1 cup of diced tomatoes. I normally use Roma tomatoes. I'll cut those up. I like those for both salads and other things, so I just get a bunch of those. If you don't, you can use a canned diced like petite tomatoes. Just be mindful that those have more sodium in them than just cutting up a regular tomato. 1 can of pinto beans and chili sauce. Now again, this is going to be a canned item. It will have higher sodium, so just be mindful of that. But I do use 1 can of that. I use 1 tablespoon of chili seasoning. I do make my own chili seasoning because it's just easier to have on hand a lot. And I also can control the salt content in there. So I do use my own seasoning, but I do use 1 tablespoon of that. And then like a half cup to a cup of water to mix in there. So it just depends how liquidy you want it. So it's up to you. But I dump all those basically once the chicken is cooked. I'll dump all the other ingredients in, let it come to a boil, and then simmer it for about 10-12 minutes just to kind of thicken it up a little bit. I'll push that to the side, let it cool off a bit to even thicken it more before we serve it. Now, typically for that meal, we'll just eat either just the plain chili with a side salad, or we'll do a side salad with the chili, but kind of like over rice is kind of one of the meals that we eat. Now, what I like about chili is that typically we have about 2 servings of chili, which is what's in these bowls, left over between us 4. So it makes about 6 servings of like 1 heaping half cup to like 3/4 cup is about a serving size for this. So there's typically 2 left over. And I like to make meals out of these for the rest of the week. So one thing that I do, the first option that I do is the stuffed peppers. So basically what I do is I take one of these servings and I will add about a half cup of quinoa. I typically don't use rice because 1, quinoa has a little bit more protein. Granted, it has a little bit more fat as well, but it does have a little bit more protein, a little bit less carb count. Plus, I like the texture of quinoa with the ground chicken. It just kind of matches up pretty well and it goes well for me. So I'll take that and dump that into one of the leftover containers. Grab a spoon, mix that up. The quinoa is going to soak up a lot of that extra sauce, so when you cook the bell peppers, it's not going to be too liquidy or overflowing and stuff like that. So I'll mix that in, and then basically I'll use a bell pepper. I cut it lengthwise. I know some people will just chop off the top and cook it that way. These were a little bit longer peppers, so I wanted to make sure that it cooked evenly and faster. So I did cut it long ways for this. Basically, I'll just take that mixture, shove it in to the pepper, and then once these are loaded on, put it on a piece of foil on a flat sheet for the oven. I'll set the oven to about 350 and cook that in there until the density of the pepper is what I like. Some people might like it cooked more, so you might want to put it in for, 15 minutes or so. Others might like it a little bit crispier, which is what I kind of like. So I'll just kind of monitor it in the oven I'll probably check it after 10 minutes and see if it's what I like. So again, I really stuff it in there. You really want to push down and keep it really firm in the pepper, just because it'll bake better and not go everywhere. So this will literally make me 2 servings. So I'll eat this for like a lunch. Is about that. If you want, you can go ahead and put a little bit of cheese on top if you want, but just know that that's added fat. I don't do dairy as much. I try to avoid it just because my stomach doesn't like it. Not necessarily for any nutritional value, it's just that my body doesn't like it. If you don't want to cook these right away, you can just leave this on the plate, put some saran wrap over it, and stick it in the fridge for like the next day or 2. It'll stay good for sure. All you gotta do is unwrap them, put them on an oven sheet, and put them in the oven. So that's one of the extra meals that I make. Now the next one is gonna be the other serving that's left over of the chili. But this time I'm gonna be adding in a 4th cup of sweet corn. So we'll put that in there. Now, typically I put another 4th cup of black beans, but my genius self decided to grab 2 cans of the chili beans, so I don't have those, so let's just pretend. Dump in those 4th cup of black beans. This is gonna make it more of a southwestern taste to it, so I kind of like that Tex-Mex for a lunch the next day. So I'll mix that in. So that'll be all mixed up. So what I do is make this kind of like a chili salad. I don't use romaine though when I make a salad with this. I actually use like a tri-colored raw coleslaw for a couple of reasons. 1, I like the vitamin content in it. 2, I also like that it doesn't go limp so fast. If you use romaine and you put something warm over top of it, it gets so mushy so fast, and I just don't like it. Coleslaw really stays crunchy for quite a bit of time. So I typically use about 1 cup. I don't measure it. I usually just grab 1 heaping scoop in my hand and put it in the bowl. Because the more the merrier with vegetables, so what the hey. So that'll be my topping of my salad. I'm gonna actually put this over because I'm eating it for lunch today. And then I'll put that over top. I typically don't heat it because it's usually, if it was left over and I ate this another day, I would heat it up in the microwave with the beans and the corn again, but since it's already still hot, I'm still gonna just put it right in my dish. So one way to top it off, I like to add some more of those peppers. I'll dice them up. I have these typically made up every week just so I can grab and just toss really quick. So these are just orange and yellow peppers. I'll put those on top for added crunch. I like things crunchy. And if I want it more spicier that day, I will definitely add in 1 tablespoon, about 15 milliliters of a Chipotle Ranch. I'll just drizzle that over top. And I do weigh my dressings. That's about the only thing that I try to weigh, just because you can really go over the top with those. Are super easy. So that's how you make another extra 2 lunches off this 1 chili meal. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me away. And if you want to add anything to your chili, by all means, go ahead. I just try and keep these simple for the kids. But I hope you enjoyed this meal prep session. We'll see you soon.